Millennials are not living above their means when they say that $100,000 doesn't do for us what it did for our parents. What we're saying is it doesn't go as far because the cost of housing, the cost of childcare, the cost to live in general has gone up exponentially. I think kids is the best example of this. In the 90s, the average family had 2.5 to 3 kids, and the cost of daycare for like one of those kids was under $10,000. It says around $5,000 to $6,000 a year. The average cost of childcare now in 2023 is $16,000 to $26,000 a year, depending where you live. Where I live, the minimum's like $20,000 per kid per year. Okay, that's huge. That's a huge difference, right? And so they were having 2 to 3 kids. The average family in the US currently is having 1, maybe 2 kids because they can't afford more. And when you look at us and say you're living above your means if you can't make $100,000 work for your family, they're failing to notice that childcare plays a big part in this. The world mostly runs on dual income homes at this point. Most millennial families are a dual income home because they can't afford not to be. And that's partially because of childcare, but partially due to the cost of living and the cost to own a home, right? The average mortgage right now is over $2,000. It's like 2.5 or something like that a month. That's a lot. That's a lot for the average family. And then when you calculate the fact that they are paying $20,000 a year per kid for daycare on top of that, that's more than their mortgage. They're not living above their means when childcare is 50% of their income. And then the pushback is then just stay home with your kids. But if you stay home with your kids, you can't afford your mortgage. You can't afford your mortgage. You can't afford your phone bill and your Comcast or whatever it is that you have. And it's so funny because people will say like, oh, you're living above your means. We didn't have all these things. No, you didn't. But having internet and a phone now is a necessity. You have to have those things to have jobs and to stay connected to the world. Those are things you need. Take out cable. Sure, nobody needs TV. Take the TV away. My internet alone is still over $100 just for internet, right? Your phone bill is going to be $100 to $200 depending on where you live and how many people are on your phone plan. And if you need it for work, it's going to be higher than that. So the cost of living has gone up so much, and specifically with childcare, that we're not living outside of our means. We are scraping by just to pay for our kids to go to daycare so we can work. And then we get to do nothing outside of that. Don't eat. God forbid you ever order out. Like, really? We're supposed to live and suffer? For what? Because on the other side of it, I've definitely also heard a lot of boomers saying, I wish I didn't work my life away. Because the day I retired, I got cancer or I got sick or whatever it might be. Yet they're looking at us and saying, suffer more.
I decided to go into mental health because I actually wanted to help people. But then, here I am in my master's, and it turns out that the reason people are doing so bad is because they're having perfectly normal responses to their environment. That environment being poverty and exploitation. And it's like, I don't want to be a therapist because I'm supposed to tell this person that they're not having a perfectly normal response to their horrific environment because of late stage capitalism. It's like if I teach them to cope in this unhealthy, toxic environment, that's just keeping the system as it is. See, I'm not doing too great.
You want to know what's funny, right? The average cost of rent rose up from $2,000 to $3,000, right? And if you're supposed to make 3 times the amount of your rent in order to qualify to be able to rent a place, that means you had to make $9,000 a month, meaning you had to make over $90,000 a year, right? Come here. That means even if you were to make $25 an hour at your job, you still would not be able to afford to stay at a place by yourself. And people are saying, oh, we'll just get a roommate. Nobody likes roommates. And you can't even rely on the roommate to either come up with their half of the rent. And if anything, they're more of a liability. Putting their name on the lease is even more stressful. And notice how we're just talking about renting. We're not talking about getting a house because virtually that's just impossible at this point. So yes, none of this is fun. Being an adult isn't fun.
I know there's already like thousands of other videos out there about the housing crisis in Canada, but I'm just going to add to it a little bit more. So I recently moved in with my partner. We are living in a 3-bedroom townhouse in Langley, British Columbia. Langley, British Columbia. I need to specify Langley, not Vancouver. We are an hour at least outside of Vancouver, depending on traffic. And our rent is $3,300 a month. Like no utilities, just $3,300 just for rent. And I was telling this to some of my coworkers today who are a bit older than me, like 10, 15 years older, who either have been living in their place for a while or they own a place. And they were shook. They were shocked. They did not realize that $3,300 a month was the going rate. And actually, we got a good deal. The going rate in our neighborhood of Willoughby is like $3,500 for what we have. I actually have a coworker who lives in Surrey, which is like 25 minutes away, closer to Vancouver. She has like a 3,000 square foot house on like this huge property, and she only pays $2,400 a month for her mortgage because she bought her house like, I don't know, a decade ago. And it is bonkers to me that in Langley, British Columbia, it is $3,300, and that's a good deal, for a 3-bedroom townhouse. And I used to live in Vancouver. I had to move out to Langley because it was cheaper. I couldn't afford Vancouver anymore. And $3,300 is absolutely not affordable. And my partner and I, we make a decent income together. We are a dual income, no kids situation. And to be perfectly honest, we are making within the like $150,000 per year range between the two of us. And don't get me wrong, we can live a decent lifestyle. We are able to pay our bills, we can afford our groceries, we can go out to eat a couple of times a week, but that's it. We can't really do anything else. And I remember growing up thinking if you had a $150,000 household, you were it. You were making the big bucks, you were making so much money, you could live in luxury. But no, $150,000 salary, it literally just affords us to pay our bills and not worry about if we can afford groceries when we get to the cash register. And it is just so messed up that that is the salary that you need to live a comfortable lifestyle. And not even a luxurious lifestyle, just a comfortable lifestyle, knowing that like we're okay. You should not have to be making $150,000 a year just to feel safe that you can afford groceries. And I need to stress, this is not a major city. This is Langley, British Columbia. This is a small city. Like, it's not Saskatchewan in the middle of nowhere, but it is still not a big city. The cost of living these days is absolutely fucked.
The cost of living in the US is only going to get higher. It will never be lower. And it's simply because all the companies that run the US want to make their money. Within the next 10 years, US citizens won't even be able to buy a house anymore. All the houses are going to be bought by most likely hedge funds or people who are doing it right now, and it's going to become a renter's nation. Also, inflation is going to be higher and the US dollar is going to be worth less as well. There's absolutely no way the US will ever fix itself. It's already too far gone. Nobody's going to be able to survive in the US in about the next 10 years. A lot of people will be very, very poor. There's going to be no middle class either. It's going to be the ultra rich, and then everyone else will be poor. That's it. The middle class is not going to exist in the next 10 years. And it's sad it's going to be that way, but the people who run the US are companies, and they run everything for profit. All the politicians are bought. They're all lobbied by these massive companies. So people who think, oh, you know, these politicians are working for us or this or that. Oh, they can help us fix things. That's never going to happen. These companies are going to buy out these politicians like they've always done. And that's just the way it's going to be. Cost of living is going to get much, much higher than it is now. It's the reason why a lot of people are leaving the US because they can't afford to live there anymore. So other countries are now more appealing.
I just bought a week's worth of groceries, fully insulated my house with the highest quality asbestos, and took my family of 17 to the local taxpayer subsidised blackface show, all for 32 cents. I just spent my life savings on a carrot.
How much do you think it is to call an ambulance in America?
Oh gosh,
$1,000 probably.
$150 maybe. Just that's being kind though. I know America's a bit of a harsh country.
Yeah.
How much is it?
$1,200.
Just to call an ambulance.
All right, how much do you reckon it costs to give birth in America?
For new life, I'll probably say around $10,000 or so.
2,500 if you're trying to have a kid in America.
It's 18 grand.
What?
If you want a hip replacement, how much do you reckon that costs in America?
$5,000.
It's 17,000.
40,000.
40,000. Why is it so high?
People don't realise in England, because we get free healthcare.
Again, very blessed to be honest.
I pay for inhalers, they're quite expensive.
Do you? How much is your inhaler?
£11.
In America, that costs $60, $70.
$60.
So I'm on here because I've had enough. And I don't think I'm the only person. I cannot be the only person. This is like just a general, please, like I beg you, reply, let me know if I am the only person, yeah? Okay, cool. Has anyone else noticed that since this whole cost of living crisis, everyone is more miserable? Like everybody is more miserable. I don't even know if more miserable is proper English. I'm miserable. Let me tell you why I'm miserable. I'm miserable because I have to sacrifice things that I never had to sacrifice for my happiness just to survive. Bare necessity just to get by. Yeah? Okay, cool. Let's start with this because I don't care. Like, I actually don't give a fuck. You see my nails? These? Yep, these. Let's have a look at these nails. Yep. These were Christmas nails. I've not been able to get them done again because I have to sacrifice my nails for gas. Yeah. I have to make sure that my house is warm and I can cook food for myself and my child. So I've had to sacrifice my nails. Oh, most people will be like, you don't really need to get your nails done. Okay, cool, check it. Me personally, when I get my nails done, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel pretty. I also like to have nice nails for work, for what I do. So this is technically part of my uniform at this point, and I'm not really able to keep up with my uniform, so it could potentially affect my work. Furthermore, why am I cold in my house when all bills are paid? Am I the only person that is literally getting to a point where I don't know if a riot or what needs to happen, but something needs to happen. Like, this actually is not okay. Like, all jokes aside, I cannot be the only person that is now thinking, I jump in the shower, I usually would run the shower before, right? So it gets to the temperature. Ask me why the other day I turned on the shower and jumped in there like I was that Iceman, Hoff, or whoever his name is. I was in the blitzing cold shower until it warmed up because I didn't want to waste my gas. That's not okay. That's not okay. That's actually not okay. That's mental that I'm even living like that. Am I the only person that is making some wild sacrifices because of this stupid cost of living? If I am, let me know. If I'm not, I beg you, let me know what else you lot are doing. So I don't feel like I'm the only one whose life is literally had like a drastic change right now, because the way I'm feeling, I'm just overwhelmed, hacked off, not happy.
I'm not lying in bed all day because I'm depressed. I'm lying in bed all day because I'm broke and I can't afford to do anything else.
Well, here I am again at the Costco. You can see for $120 this week, just picking up some stuff, you know. There we are. Take a good look at those prices, folks. And you see what you get for $120 at Costco in Canada. This is the best deal here ever, anywhere. $7.99 for a fully cooked chicken. I can't even buy a raw chicken of the same size for that price. It's ridiculous. But this is it. And they've got you thinking this is a good deal. What I'm thinking is, holy jeez, how do people that are low income afford to eat anything? And you know, we all know if you buy in larger quantities, you save exponentially. This is why I go to Costco. I'm not a low income earner, and I'm not a millionaire either. But I work my ass off for my money, folks. I really do. And I'm so sick and tired of paying so much money in tax. To what? To save the fucking planet? Give me a break. I'm trying to save my own ass here. Never mind a fucking planet that's doomed anyway. This is what you get for 120 bucks. Costco, Canada. And before you start harping on me about other places, I get it. It's not convenient for me to take a day off work and run around all over the place trying to find a better price. You know, I make that judgment call. We all make the judgment call. I'm not trying to degrade anybody or bring anybody down with this. I'm just saying this shit is unacceptable for $120. There's no value to our money, folks.
Here's what I spend in a month as a 24-year-old living in Canada. My rent is $583.
Are we living in the same Canada? I have been racking my brain about this because bleh. How do you find an apartment where your rent is only $500? The only way that I can rationalize that and make myself feel better about how much rent I'm paying is thinking that you have like 4 roommates in a 2-bedroom apartment. Or your parents own that apartment and they greatly subsidize your rent. 'Cause I live in a studio apartment in Montreal, which is historically a pretty cheap city to live in. And I pay almost $1,000 a month in a studio apartment. And I'm a lot more fortunate than most people because that includes my electricity, my heating, my AC, literally everything except for internet. Also, she says that she only spends $200 on groceries a month. Now, a lot of people are being like, oh my gosh, how do you only spend $200 on groceries a month? Now, I will say I come close to this, but that is only because I have very awful eating habits. I genuinely just don't eat a lot. I eat once a day. That's it. And the rest of the time I'm sleeping or I'm on my phone. 'Cause anxiety, baby. Woo woo. But I need to know where this woman lives. There's no way she lives in Ontario unless she lives in Northern Ontario. There's no way she lives in Quebec because, does she live in the Maritimes? Does she live in Saskatchewan or something? Where the fuck is this woman living? I need answers.
I'm actually fucking disgusted in this country, the people that run this country. There's people out here literally can't afford to eat, can't afford to flipping heat the house. There's old people literally freezing to death. There's parents can't afford to take their kids places, get them presents. It's disgusting. While they're all sat at home, all warm and toasty, getting hundreds of thousands of pounds for doing fuck all but torture in the UK. It makes me sick how they can literally make everything rise, make all the prices go sky high. People can't afford to fucking literally do the basic minimum shit because of the gas prices, the electric prices, the rents going up. People having to wear extra flipping jackets and hats and scarves and gloves and in their own house. You can literally see the breath because they can't afford to put the bastard heating on just for half an hour. Even the people going to work for extra hours, breaking the fucking back just to get home, just to get enough money, just to get by, struggling, scrimping and scraping. Now you imagine them people that can't work, them people that are too old to work, them people that have to stay at home and look after the kid. Mate, honestly, it boils my piss how they can do this to people. You wonder why we hate the government and the people that run this country and the fucking prime ministers. It's because they do this kind of shit. They put out fake promises. Oh yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that for you. And all they do is make things fucking worse. How dare you do this to people? How dare you do this to us? The people that make the UK run and tick. The people that are grafting their ass off so you can keep your fucking pockets lined with all the cash. The people in Parliament, everyone who runs this country. Take your face for a fucking shit, yeah? You're disgusting.
$1,800 per month? That's how much you're gonna spend to rent a 1-bedroom apartment? Kiddo, that can't be right. That is so expensive.
Yeah, Dad, that's it's pretty standard for where I'm looking to live.
I can't imagine that's right, kiddo. That is just astronomical. That's twice my mortgage.
Well, yeah, Dad, I wasn't able to buy a house back in 1970?
It was 85, okay? And my interest rate was 12%.
Look, Dad, it was the only place that was affordable, and I need a place to live. That's all I could do.
Affordable? Nothing about $1,800 per month is affordable.
I know it's expensive, so I was thinking about maybe just getting a roommate to, split rent.
Oh, no, get a roommate. No, you can't have a roommate, kiddo. You never know what you're gonna get yourself into if you have someone else living with you. I mean, that's just out of the question. You gotta find a place that's a better price than that.
Let's talk about how ridiculous it is to try and survive and live in the United States right now currently. Based on inflation, this home that you could buy for $1,785 in 1929, this home came with everything you needed to build a house. Plumbing, electric, wiring, trim, paint, everything. You had to build it, but it was $1,785. That's a 4-bedroom, 1-bath home. That home, based on inflation, should be $30,769.47. According to money.cnn.com, the average 4-bedroom home in the United States right now costs $363,401, or 11.8 times the inflation rate. So how did that happen, right? Inflation says that house should be 31 grand. Anyway, let's look at some statistics in the United States right now, kind of associated with 31 grand. The average compact car right now costs $26,000, so you could buy that. Mid-size car, 32 grand, too much. Couldn't afford that, right? That house should be cheaper than a mid-size car. Student loans, $37,338, also more. Food to feed a family of 4, $12,565, or about 2 years of food costs for a family of 4 is what that house should cost. Average childcare expense, $14,760, and that's for one child. So if we multiply that by 2 for 2 children, it should cost you about 1 year of childcare to buy that house. Here's a crazy one: taxes to take care of a homeless individual. $30,000 to $50,000 a year today is what it costs to house a homeless individual in the United States. But based on math and based on the government's own calculation to calculate inflation, that 4-bedroom, 1-bath house should cost $30,769.47.
In what world do we live in that toilet paper that you literally flush down the drain is $23.99? That is crazy. On sale, guess what, guys? Toilet paper is $8.99 for just, what is it, 8? Oh my goodness.